smallest art collab live stream. Let me get my phone stand up so we can see what we're doing. We're going to be working on this today. I know like someone was saying in the comments on the last video they didn't like the angle that I was filming from, but I'm kind of, I don't know, I could try to do it upside down, I guess, like right here. Oop, I don't want to drop my phone. Trying to move my like extension cord out of the way. There we go. Okay. So do y'all want to watch it upside down like this? Or do y'all want to watch it sideways like that? It's up to you, really. These are kind of my... Hey, friends. Hey, Denny. Hey, Kaylin. These are kind of my options because I'm right-handed and I can't put it on the right side, you know, or my hand will be in the way. So it's just what I got. It's what we're working with here. And my extension cord is like way in the way. Oh, I dropped the phone. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm an idiot. Okay, here we go. Don't worry, it didn't land on the collab. It didn't break anything. Last time I had my table pushed all the way up to the wall, so my extension cord was like not in the way as much. Jeez Louise. It's all twisted. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yeah. I think this is just as good as it's gonna get, guys. I'm sorry. Here, I'll lower it down so y'all are really close to it, though. There you go. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna... I have no idea. I'm just gonna figure it out.
There's an alley right there.
Will it reach all the way over there? Thank you. Oh yeah, look at that, it reaches. Well, that works. Okay, cool. Now the cord's on the way. Thanks, Bubby. Okay. All right. We're gonna start painting. We're troubleshooting all of this. Hope you guys had a great day today. And let's get going. Here we go. We are going to use... What brush? What brush? This one looks good. No, it doesn't. We'll just use this brush, I guess. It's as good as any. We're going to have to use a lot of small brushes today. Oh yeah, so I have tweaked the colors. I added those like hot pinks to the rim lighting here. And I changed the controller color to yellow. I changed the color of the square on his hoodie to be brighter. And then I added a holographic glitter to the top of it. I added another layer of orange and another layer of white to clean up the pants a little more. So that's what I did off camera. Okay. Alrighty. I think what I want to do is I definitely want, hold on, let me get a different brush, a thinner brush. This one. Okay. So I know I definitely want this to be gold. I don't know how many coats it's going to take, but so far it's looking good. I had something really funny happen at the Walmart today. So I was like walking through Walmart and this like old man comes up to me. He goes, "Oh my gosh, you're gorgeous." And I was like, "Thank you, sir." And I smiled at him and he was like, "Ah." And I was just laughing. And so anyway, I'm breaking old man hearts, one Walmart trip at a time. I was telling that story to my husband, and he was like, "Should have said, you ain't got enough money for me," or something like that, or "Do you got any money to back that up," or whatever. He was cracking me up. But I had a really good day today at work. We were pretty busy, which was nice. And I was helping two different girls find some ring bands. Hi, Basic. Hi, Smitty. Hello. Basic is one of my longtime friends on YouTube, and we've had some really good conversations. We have like long Christian talks. He's amazing. And Smitty is amazing. He's a really good friend. I made a new friend in the comments. His name is Paris Gill Sr. And he was commenting on the live stream. And y'all should go check him out. He has like 20 subscribers. He's an art teacher, a traditional artist, a digital artist. He paints murals. He does sculptures. He's a good storyteller, because I was watching his YouTube videos. You can't comment on his videos because he has the child setting on it, but you can give him a like and show some support. That's what us small channels got to do. We got to stick together and help each other out. Shout each other out when we can. Alright, let's see. But yeah, I was helping some girls find some wedding bands today. And this girl was like, "I don't want to spend more than $1,000. So what does my boss do? Hands her a $1,400 wedding band, which is absolutely stunning. And she's like, "I love this one. I can't afford it though." I was like, "It's okay." I said, that could be something to work towards in the future, right? You can upgrade later. But we did end up finding her one that was in her budget. It ended up being like $600. So that was good news. It wasn't the big showstopper one, but it was really nice. Okay, we might have to do one more coat of gold. Get it nice and thick. My wife and I did the same. Get what we can now and upgrade when we can. LOL. The Grotto. Hi, Grotto. How are you? A lot of people already know who the Grotto is, but if you don't, he's the one who did that video about 3 months ago where he was auditioning to get the collab next after Smitty, and it was a really good audition video. I watched it. Super talented. He lives in Hollywood, and he does a lot of Disney work, murals, and custom name art. Super, super amazing. I want to say he was talking about how he was going to customize a drum set. Really badass stuff happening. So y'all go check him out too. Give him a follow. Give him some love. All right, we got our golden game sphere. Done and done. Okay, so I want to take this gold and add some white to it to make a pale gold color. Okay, and the part where the controller connects, I'm going to have that be that color right here. Gonna be very gentle. There we go. It kind of just looks like a tan, but that's okay. All right. We're gonna do another coat of that in just a minute. But while we wait, let's get this color and add a little bit of white to it. Just a hair. Thank you. Yes, the drum set's still in the works. I decided it was too big to do in my apartment. They're not small, are they? They take up quite a lot of room. And then if you think about the art setup you have to do in the process, yeah, I imagine it's not easy to work around space-wise. All right. These colors may not even stay these colors, as you can see, the tweaking I did off camera. Who's to say I might tweak it again? But at least you can see me working on something, right? I'm not just sitting on my butt doing nothing. I worked a full day at work, came home at 6:45, had to turn around, go to Walmart, came back home at 7:30, made dinner, sent the kids to bed, relaxed for about 20 minutes, and then went to painting. That was my evening. Getting it done. Okay, how are we going to do the inside? All right, I'm gonna mix some black and white together. Black and white, we're gonna make a gray. I know I'm using a lot of gray in this picture, but I want it to be realistic, you know, I want it to be believable. This section is going to be that gray color. There was one commenter that had me cracking up. They were talking about how ironic it was to be live streaming this for all the hate that Smitty got for taking so long. And she's like, maybe this will teach them a lesson on patience. so they can see the whole art process and how long it actually takes to do something. And I was laughing and I was like, I totally agree. That wasn't my intent, but it's kind of funny. Well, and then the commenter was talking about my camera angles, and the whole like first 5 minutes of this video is me dicking around with my camera and dropping it, or my phone, because that's what I'm filming on. And I was trying to get a good camera angle, but there's just no way. And she was like, maybe you could get some different light setups. And I was like, babes, I have nothing. I have nothing. I have a phone. I have kitchen lights. That's it. My husband has a flashlight. Maybe we could set up a flashlight. I don't know. Because she was talking about my shadow of my hand being in the way, which can't be helped. People don't understand. They don't understand. This collab was going to smaller and smaller and smaller creators who have less and less and less of a budget. We have less, I mean, we just don't have the equipment, you know what I mean? It should be expected, right? You know, I was trying to be kind about it. Like, I'll try, and I did. It just didn't work. I absolutely love the fact that you're incorporating the viewers' input in as well with suggestions as you go. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, like that was always my goal. I definitely wanted people to be involved and feel like they had a say. And I barely touched on it in my last video, my pumpkin video, but in the live stream I mentioned putting their names next to the artwork, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the back. Everybody who does the suggestion and I paint it, their name will go in the back as a contributor. And I want to do, because it's all blue up here, I'm going to do a monotone color palette to keep it all cohesive, you know? You use what you got. If that's all you got, then that's it. That's right. That is right. Yes, sir. Because me and my friend were talking, she had come over to see the collab and we were chatting about it. And she said, you have to be careful about who you pick and what suggestions you pick so that it stays cohesive. And I said, well, look at the collab. It's all random. Hey, bestie. Yeah, I was just talking about you. The collab is all random, okay? None of these characters are, like, they flow together well, yes, but none of them are exactly cohesive with one another. So then that's when I got to thinking, in order to make it look like it's part of the collab, what I'll do is I'll make the color palette monotone and it'll all be done in shades of blue. And that way they blend in with the sky, yeah? The characters will still stand out and they'll be noticeable, but it'll be like, let me show you an example. Hold on. Okay, you see how he put designs in the hair here, but he used different shades of brown so that it stands out? That's what I'm going to do over here, but I'll use the different shades of blue so that it still stands out and you can tell what the characters are, but they're not overpowering the piece. Yeah, like clouds. I love the idea of including the names of the contributors, Meg. Thank you, Denny. Thank you. So yeah, the names are going to go on the back with all the other signatures. And I'll make a special little box back there, and it'll say like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to say yet. Something like 10 Hun fans, contributors, or something like that. And then it'll just list all their names. So I'll make sure during that live stream, I'll be watching the chat and writing the names down. I'll have my notebook out, so I'm keeping up with who's saying what, you know, and what their names are. And it'll be a whole thing. So that way, if the suggestions do get crazy, which they probably will, they're already starting to suggest stuff, and they're already getting pretty crazy. But like I did tell everybody, it's gonna happen during the live stream, not comments on my videos. But anyway, yeah, it's already starting to act up. But yeah, if they get crazy, that's okay. Let them be crazy, because it'll all be cohesive. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. Another guy said he wanted me to send it to another artist because I was taking up too much space. He said, I love your painting, but you could stop here, don't paint a background, and send it to someone else. And the guy I was going to send it to, we already talked about it. And we were both in agreement that it would be insane to send it all the way to Australia, you know, when it's so close to being finished, and just go ahead and finish it. And I was like, yeah. Hey there. No, I'm trying to watch the chat too. So how was y'all's day today? How was work? Was work chill? Was work sucky? Was it tiresome? I feel ya. You're so over it. Yeah. No one has done it live. I'm doing it live. I'm the first one. I'm a trendsetter. Now they're all going to start doing stuff live. They said, we can't let that Megan girl upstage us like that. I want to impress 1000 so bad, you know? I want him to like see what I'm doing and be impressed. Like, look what she did, you know? I want him to like me. A kid home from school with chest infections. Bless your heart, Resin. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope they feel better soon. Thank you. Yes, you're very welcome. Sick kids is no fun. I like how I just made the bottom of this thing like an extended PlayStation. It's just fat. I ran out of ideas. Here we go. Try to make these lines straight. Ooh, looks crooked. Yeah, it looks crooked, bro. It's lumpy. There's a coworker that I work with, and she's always really grumpy. And she's an old grumpy lady. And she's one of those fake nice kind of people. Like, she's nice to the customers, obviously she has to be, but like she's not so pleasant to you, you know? And I was trying to like get on her good side today. I was trying to get her to talk to me. And it got really depressing really fast because I was like, so, what do you like to do for fun? Which very quickly turned into her dog being dead. And I was like, I'm so sorry. No wonder you're so cranky all the time. Your dog's dead. Yuck. But how do you, like, change the subject from that? You know what I mean? Then it got really awkward. And I didn't know what to do. Okay, and here we're gonna paint this side. I feel like it needs to look more like this. You know what I mean? And I feel like this needs to be like this for it to look right. And then that comes down right there. Fixed it. I'll fix the top of that in a minute. Uh-oh, put my hand in it. I like how this thing is battery powered. In the future, everything will run on forever batteries. Let's paint some happy little clouds. Let's paint some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Have y'all heard the Bob Ross song? Bob Ross is like my spirit animal. Nah, I'm just kidding. My spirit animal is definitely a gator. Yeah. If Bob Ross was a gator, he'd be my spirit animal. All right, good deal. Get some white, brighten that back up. See if I can match that gray. If I can't match it, I'll just repaint the whole thing, I guess. Nope, it's too bright. That's okay. I'll just repaint it. Not a problem. Definitely looks better though, so I'm glad I did it. A lot of people were really happy about the pants. I got a lot of comments on how good the pants looked, and that made me happy because it was really hard to paint those. Well, to draw them. Drawing them was tough. The mental gymnastics I had to do. Okay, got that done. Good deal. Okay, so now that I'm looking at it, I'm not really feeling that light tan color at all. And I kind of want to paint it gold too, like just straight gold. So we're gonna do that. And what I'll do is I'll see if I can add like a shadow to give it some separation. Okay. So get some gold, a touch of black, and mix. Okay, and then we'll just do this very lightly, just like that. And then for this top part, I'll make it all that color. There, that looks a lot better. All right, now we gotta do the this part here and the inside. And the wires and circuits. So, and then we gotta paint the inner globe area. All right. This is definitely going to take a couple of coats. Streaky. Ooh, do you see how good that looked? One nice, pretty line. You going to work?
Yeah.
Okay. I love you.
Love you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Hey, whenever you get done, the casting food.
I'll feed him. You're welcome. I'm just gonna talk you guys to sleep. If you fall asleep during the live stream, it's totally okay. Don't feel bad about that. I did my job, right? You're so relaxed that you're snoozing. We all gotta go to work tomorrow, so we need a good night's sleep. And I hope you'll have good dreams. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that. Oops. I think. Hold on a minute. Yeah, we can paint that in. I don't know what I'm doing. I was gonna play a horrible prank on all of you. I was gonna start the live stream off and say, oh my gosh, guys, I hate to tell you, but my cat totally threw up on the collab. So now there's cat barf all over the carpet. And then I tried to get it out with bleach, which made it worse. So now there's bleach stains and cat vomit all over the carpet. What do I do? And then watch you all freak out. And then laugh and be like, ha, just kidding. Ha. Psych. Is that believable? Would y'all have really believed me? Oh my god. No. Y'all are funny. Let's give this guy a name, y'all. Oh yeah, what should we name TV head man? Gary? I can't think of any more names. Leonard? Chuck Lee? What? Bert? His name is Bert. Bertimus. 2.0. Barry. Philip. It's a girl nickel. Sam says Spade would be a good name. Hey, Guild, how are you? Spade would be a good name. That's a badass name. I got it. Larry. Larry! Oh my god. I love Impractical Joker so much. It's so funny. Larry. I kind of like Spade. It's such a biker name.
What is it?
Spade.
Like a racial slur?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's 2024. It's not a racial slur anymore.
get over it.
My husband said that's a racial slur. He's orange.
Oh, not that big of a deal then, yeah.
Ace of spades. Casey said it was too.
Well, that's just Casey's not an idiot.
He said that's because Casey's not an idiot. I can't even concentrate anymore. Stop. You're ruining things.
Trying not to get you canceled, babe.
He said he's trying not to get me canceled. Everyone in the chat's uncomfortable.
Bye.
Love you, bye. You're so sweet. Well, now we have to go with Larry. What about static? Ooh, static. Like TV static? Ooh, I kind of like that. Static. That's a good one. Kind of want to turn on some music now that Luke is gone. I don't like painting to the sound of my ice maker roaring. It's unsettling. Okay, let me go turn on some music. Drink my tea. You could listen to like a murder podcast. Yeah? You could listen to Annie Elise. Where is she? Let me find her. Annie Elise. There you are. Deranged ex-boyfriend tried to eat her. Oh my gosh. That's the one.
To life with me, Annie Elise. Now, I'm almost upfront with you guys. I feel like we're friends at this point. I like to keep it real with you. A lot of you know I've been struggling with my job since November 2023, actually before that. I had a procedure in December to fix it. It worked for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
And then it got really bad. And it got really bad really quickly. So,
We're not here about your surgery. We want to know about the cannibal boyfriend.
month or so for nerves to kind of spring summer.
There we go.
Religiously, but I am not one to gatekeep. So I know some of you are coffee drinkers, even though I'm
Yeah, now she's on about coffee. Just want to know about the guy eating his girlfriend. That's all I want to know about. I don't want to know about coffee.
It is a delicious coffee alternative that improves your daily productivity and delivers.
I do love listening to Annie Elise though. Oh my gosh. She has like, she deep dives, she goes into so much detail, backstory stuff.
I've even tried it even though I'm not a coffee drinker, but my husband loves it and I think it tastes good and I hate all
I always say like when I die,
super latte.
you should just play lo-fi. You don't want to listen to Annie Elise?
The taste alone will definitely.
I want to listen to Annie Elise.
There's also no jitters. It has that delicious.
I mean, I could play some chill music,
15 calories.
but I've already clicked on her.
Keto friendly. It is the best.
Y'all vote in the chat. There's 10 of you.
Not only are you wide awake like coffee, but
Cast a vote. Do you want to listen to chill music or do you want to listen to the cannibal boyfriend story?
it's super latte.
You're about to go to bed? Then go to bed.
Alternative that is made not only boost your daily productivity, but also give you sustained energy. Click my link below or scan the QR code on the screen and
You do what you want. I am, girlfriend.
so whether you're drinking bean to help you sleep or to help you wake up, sweet dreams or good morning. Tammy Jo Blanton was born on January 7th, 1968 in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
I'm definitely not getting monetized now.
Kentucky, and it's separated from the state of Ohio River. Jeffersonville is known for its riverfront district and people love
Right. Oh, good night, Cece. I'll talk to you later, okay, friend?
running very many restaurants in the area. So all of these activities and this atmosphere really made it an ideal place for families to settle down. And Tammy spent her whole life in Jeffersonville because she loved the area and she wanted to be close with her family, which really makes sense because she had a reputation for being a truly caring, compassionate person who felt really close to her family. And she loved feeling like everybody around her was being taken care of. Tammy was gorgeous as well. She had
Tammy
really
sounds like the nicest lady.
really, really intense blue eyes. So her good looks meant that the guys were always interested in her. But while she dated throughout the years, she loved being independent and she never married. She She also didn't want
Okay.
kids of her own, so
Good.
she decided to just be the cool aunt to all of her nieces and nephews. But overall, Tammy was just this carefree woman. And when she wasn't working, she really loved going out with her friends, getting drinks, and just having a good time. Now, by the time that she was in her early 20s, the only thing she really felt like she was missing out on was having a serious boyfriend. She didn't want to be alone anymore.
We're going with lime green.
Like her. Unfortunately, though, she had to wait a while to find that, until she was 46 to be exact. Now, in the spring of 2014, Tammy finally found just what she was looking for. At a bar in Jeffersonville, she met a man named Joseph Overhamsley. He was a little quiet, but he was nice, and he was definitely fun. They would spend time together playing darts and talking, and the conversation just flowed so easily.
I suck at
There
darts.
was this sense of comfort between the two of them.
Y'all good at darts? I'm not.
And afterward, Joseph and Tammy had a whirlwind romance. Now, Tammy was 13 years older than Joseph. She had also been by herself her entire life, so she never really outgrew or left that going out and partying stage of her life. Maybe this could be seen as, I don't know, a little immature, but she was always known as a free spirit. Plus, like I said, Tammy liked to take care of other people. So when she met Joseph, he mentioned that he had a pretty rough childhood and was still working on putting his life back together. And it seems like that was almost something that pulled Tammy in a little bit, pulled her toward Joseph. She wanted to help him. In general, she had this tendency to go for things that she wanted to, quote, fix. You know,
She's one of those
a lot of women try to do that.
try to fix them kind of chick.
Think that they're the ones who will be able to fix, people who are damaged or people who have problems.
That never works out. Good morning. How are you? So where's everyone from? I live in Paris, Texas. You have to paint his face as the YouTube play button. It makes it more sense. So what we talked about in the last live stream, Nomadic Mood suggested it to make the TV a video game of the collab. So that's what I'm gonna paint. So the concept is that he's playing a video game and the collab is the game he's playing. And it's just this really surrealistic art piece.
Actively trying to pull Tammy away from other people in her life, kind of isolating her. And unfortunately, we've seen that in a lot of relationships where there's an element of love bombing, then isolation, so that they have
love
control, they have
bombing.
the upper hand. He even monitored her Facebook profile, and he would get in virtual fights with people who would post on her Facebook wall. And he
What a
didn't limit
psycho.
that behavior to social media either. He was straight up rude to all of Tammy's friends whenever they all went out together in person. But as bad as it all sounds, Tammy still gushed about how great Joseph was.
Should have dumped his butt.
But as more time went on, the more she started letting little things slip out. Like that even she thought he was a little too controlling. Or how he seemed to be angry all the time, no matter what she did. Two of Tammy's friends from work noticed that she was gushing less about Joseph and now complaining more. And when they saw that he was fighting with people on her Facebook profile, they decided to look into him some more. Because come on, that's just
The grotto, be safe over there. Oh my gosh, the grotto's in Orlando. Oh my gosh, that's scary.
So they went online and they did some digging, some sleuthing, if you will. So here's what we know now about the real Joseph.
Good things come to those who wait. But great things, those go to the ones who create, innovate, celebrate. That's how Elijah Craig came to be known as the father of bourbon. And it's why we crown our award with a small batch bourbon for you. The ones who always bring their best to the table and bring others along for the ride. That's the greatness within.
Was born in 1981 in Utah. As a kid, he had been very sweet, very loving. He constantly hugged and kissed his mother. Joseph also had two siblings, one older, one younger, and his childhood was pretty normal, pretty happy. But then everything changed in June of 1997 when Joseph was 16 years old, because that is when his older brother died by taking his own life. Now, no one had suspected his brother would do something like that, so everybody was shocked. And Joseph took this loss especially hard because he had been really close with his brother. So hard, in fact, that he started spiraling. And then, about a month after his brother's death, his dad died from what local newspapers called a very suspicious overdose. Why the overdose was suspicious, we aren't entirely sure, but it's been said that his death also most likely was self-inflicted. Now, anybody would struggle to deal with that kind of loss. And again, Joseph was only 16 years old, not even an adult yet. His mental health took a sharp turn for the worse at that point, and he stopped being that happy and loving kid that he used to be. His personality
Bless his heart.
180. Now he was angry, spiteful, and unpredictable.
Kid needs therapy, is what he needed.
And mostly meth. And he also made comments about how much he hated his life and how there was no point in living. People who knew Joseph said that it was like he was trying to act like this tough guy from movies and from TV shows, all to just cover up how much he was really struggling. So needless to say, Joseph now had a terrible reputation. It was a reputation that stuck with him all the way until he was now 17 years old and started dating a new girl named Sabrina Elder. Sabrina's family knew about Joseph's drug use and his angry personality, so they did not approve of him dating Sabrina. In fact, when Sabrina's grandfather first met Joseph, he chased him off the lawn because he didn't want Joseph to have anything to do with him. But Sabrina kept seeing him, and eventually she got pregnant. So even with the baby on the way, Sabrina's family did not want to have anything to do with Joseph. So she ended up moving in with him and with his relatives, which meant that she was staying with Joseph, his mom, his little sister, and his grandma. Now, we know a lot of the time that teen romances, they aren't built to last, and it really didn't take long for Sabrina and Joseph to start fighting all the time. They broke up, but Sabrina kept living with Joseph so that it would be easier to parent together once the baby came. It's probably safe to assume that she wanted Joseph to be a part of their baby's life, but as it turned out, he didn't feel ready for fatherhood. He told his friends that he was dreading the birth. He also started spreading rumors that Sabrina slept around, and he wasn't even sure if he was the father. A couple of times, Joseph said that he wanted a paternity test. Now, I don't know if Sabrina ever...
Yeah, both are hitting the same spot back to back. It's been a crazy few days. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine, dude. I bet you're stressed out.
No excuse for some other things that he said, including that he wanted to kill Sabrina. Now, as alarming as that statement was, his friends didn't take it too seriously. Apparently, he only made those kinds of comments when he was high, so they wrote them off as not sincere, not really weighted, didn't really have much meaning. But either way, Sabrina gave birth to a baby boy on December 4th, 1998. They named him after his father, Joseph, and to avoid confusion, I'm just going to call him the baby, and the father will still be Joseph, okay? Just so that we can all follow and go clearly. Now, even after birth, Joseph still was not interested in fatherhood, and he was getting into arguments with Sabrina over the paternity of the baby. At one point, their arguments got so bad that on
Kind of like they're arguing over whether or not he's the father, and she still named the baby after him.
about who the baby's father was. That Joseph punched her, and then he ran away. Joseph was gone by the time
What
he
a
crossed the ride,
psycho.
and they weren't able to find him. The next day, Sabrina was home with the
Okay.
baby and with the rest of the family. They were all sitting together when Joseph
I need
was acting very, very strangely.
a
It
dark
seemed like he
green.
was under the influence of something. He kept pacing in the hallways, acting upset, but nobody knew for sure what was bothering him. Then, all of a sudden, he pulled out a gun, and he started shooting wildly all over the place. His mother was the first person who figured out how to react. She grabbed the baby out of Sabrina's arms, and she made a run for it. But Joseph shot her in the back.
Holy
She fell
crap.
down, and Joseph's 13-year-old sister ran over to help. She took the baby out of her mother's arms, and she ran out the door, and luckily, they both made it to safety. But now, Joseph was alone in the house with Sabrina. He shot her 5 times in the head, killing her instantly. Then, he turned the gun on himself, and he pulled the trigger. Someone called 911. It's not clear who, and everyone was rushed to the hospital. Joseph's sister and the baby were unharmed since they hadn't been shot, and his mother managed to survive that gunshot wound to her back miraculously. And then, in a total shock to everybody, Joseph also lived, even though he had shot himself in the head. The bullet
Oh my
ended up
goodness.
in his frontal lobe, which is the part of the brain that helps you think rationally and control your emotions. When the doctor saw the scans, they thought that somehow Joseph had come out more or less unscathed. It didn't look like the gunshot actually caused any major damage. In fact, if they did surgery to try to remove the bullet, they were more likely to injure him during the procedure. So instead, they left the bullet in his head. A month later, in January of 1999, once Joseph had enough time to recover, he was arrested and he was charged with Sabrina's murder. The police also pressed charges for attempted murder since he shot his mom. His bail was set at $1 million, and Joseph's family supported him. Even after everything he had done, his own mother, who he shot, still defended him. She said he acted the way that he did because he had been through so much with the death of his brother and his father. His grandparents also helped, and they were able to pay for a really good defense team. And his lawyers convinced the judge to let Joseph go without that much of an expensive bail payment. They argued that Joseph was just going through a hard time, and he needed to be home so that he could heal with his family, which seems so bizarre to me because going through a hard time doesn't equate to trying to murder multiple people in your family and actually murdering the mother of your child. But shockingly, the judge actually agreed with him. So Joseph got to go home and tell his trial, all while remaining under house arrest the entire time. Now, he was supposed to face the jury in January of 2000, but a couple of things went down before his hearing could begin. First and foremost, Joseph's mother and sister refused to cooperate with the prosecution. His immediate family members also were fully prepared to defend Joseph, even though he literally shot him. Their argument was that Joseph just wasn't the sort of person who commits murder. Instead, he just...
What do y'all think? Should Joseph have gone to jail or get a second chance? I'm leaning toward jail, but that's just me.
Victims weren't willing to take the stand against him. They would have a really tough time getting a conviction for first-degree murder. So instead, they made a plea deal with him, where Joseph could settle for manslaughter and attempted murder. And he accepted the deal. During his sentencing hearing in March, everyone repeated those same arguments again, that Joseph wasn't violent. He would never dream of hurting anybody if he wasn't high on meth. His lawyers actually pointed at the bullet in his brain as evidence that he was going to reform. They said that ever since he had shot himself, Joseph had now been very calm, very relaxed, and that he just didn't have it in him anymore to do something as dangerous again. They even compared the bullet in Joseph's head to a lobotomy. Now, if you don't know what that
Weird.
is, a lobotomy was a very popular neurological procedure in the 1940s and 50s. The surgery involved making holes in the skull to then cut the nerve connections between the frontal lobe and other parts of the brain. The idea was that the surgery would provide relief for people with various mental health issues like schizophrenia and OCD. However, that surgery has since been discredited because it was known to completely alter people's personalities. They would start behaving erratically and impulsively. In fact, damage to the frontal lobe can prevent rational thinking and increase irritability. So it didn't make sense that Joseph's lawyers were now making the argument that he was more calm. They never even had a doctor or a psychiatrist support these claims either. So in addition to all of this, Joseph also expressed remorse for what he had done. He said, quote, "I give my life for hers. I will take responsibility for my acts, not only today, but for every day until I die." So thanks to all of those arguments and Joseph's apparent regret, he was only sentenced to 15 years in prison. And understandably, Sabrina's family was furious about all of this. First, they didn't think that it was fair that Joseph...
15 years in prison. That's not enough, y'all.
been charged with manslaughter. Even if his mom didn't want to testify against him, that didn't change the fact that he had pointed a gun at Sabrina's head and he pulled the trigger 5 times. Plus, they did not believe a word of what Joseph's family said. They thought that he was very dangerous, and the murders were completely in character for him. They worried that once he went free at the end of his sentence, he would hurt somebody else. Sabrina's grandfather even told a reporter, quote, "He's going to get out in 5 to 7 years, and he's going to do it again." Now, he said 5 to 7 years, even though Joseph was supposed to go away for 15, and I guess he had already mentally shaved off some time for parole, which was pretty straightforward thinking on his part. years. Sabrina's family attended it, and they insisted that Joseph was not ready to return to freedom. Apparently, while he was in prison, he'd actually bragged about his crime, and he got a tattoo on his back that said, "Murderous Deeds." But a prison psychiatrist evaluated him, and the psychiatrist said he had changed, and he no longer was a threat to society. They also said he never had any disciplinary problems during his incarceration, and his good behavior should count in his favor. So the parole board truly believed that Joseph had reformed, and they released him on July 12th, 2012. Now, even though he was released, they did warn that if he was caught breaking the law again, it would be considered a parole violation, and he would have to go back to prison in Utah. So upon release, now Joseph wasn't behind bars, and his whole family had moved out of state to Indiana. Since Joseph didn't know anyone in Utah anymore, he decided he was going to move to be closer to his mom, and he got permission to relocate without violating his parole. In theory, he was supposed to agree to some extra
All right, we got the circuits and stuff done. Super shiny.
Joseph's parole officer in Indiana would have to hear about whatever he did wrong. Then he would have to tell his parole officer in Utah, who would then tell the parole board. So it's really easy for little details to fall through the cracks. And that's exactly what ended up happening with Joseph. See, in March of 2013, Joseph met a woman in a bar. They flirted a little bit, then they went back to her place. They were right in the middle of having a good time, if you know what I mean, having sex.
Ooh, they were doing that hanky-panky.
And started hitting Joseph with a baseball bat. Joseph tackled the man and then began strangling him. That's when the woman then called the police. When they arrived, Joseph was still naked, standing over this man with his hands still around the guy's neck. The man was barely conscious, but Joseph would not let go. His knuckles were swollen, they were bleeding, and he didn't stop until the police basically wrestled him off of this other guy. So then everybody gave their statements, which got pretty confusing because everybody's story was a little bit contradictory. The woman tried to say that Joseph followed her home and then broke into her apartment, but Joseph said that he was the victim in all of this, that the man and the woman brought him over so that they could steal his phone, his wallet, his car keys. So it's a pretty confusing story. What really happened here? Well, it turns out that the woman was cheating on her boyfriend, and then the boyfriend attacked Joseph because she was cheating. It isn't confirmed, but Joseph probably made up the story about how they wanted to rob him so that he could avoid getting in trouble for his violent behavior. Later on, the woman did confess that she willingly brought Joseph home. But even with her new admission, Joseph was eventually arrested, and he was charged with battery, strangulation, and resisting law enforcement. He was taken to jail, but his grandfather bailed him out for the low price of $1,000, which, honestly, that was a steal, given that he already had been convicted of manslaughter, and this was now the second time where he tried to kill someone. In fact, in theory, now that he had been arrested, Joseph
Betty making bad
automatically
decisions right and left.
He violated his parole, and his Indiana parole officer knew what had happened, but for whatever reason, they didn't say anything to the Utah authorities. Apparently, they were confused about whether Joseph was the victim or the perpetrator of the crime, which, okay, fair enough. The whole situation, it was super confusing. But when they couldn't get a straight answer from anyone, they decided just to not follow up or tell anybody about what went down. So Joseph got out and basically did not face any consequences. But then there was another incident a year later. The police tried to pull Joseph over in Indiana for driving recklessly. But instead of pulling over, Joseph kept going. And pretty soon, he was in a high-speed chase that took him all the way from Jeffersonville, Indiana, to Kentucky. The chase lasted around 45 minutes, but he was eventually caught, arrested, and charged with resisting arrest. But once again, Joseph lucked out because his bail was only $500, and nobody bothered to tell the Utah Supreme Court about what had happened.
This story is insane.
Apparently, right before the chase, Joseph had called the police and said that his family was trying to kill him. The police were worried about his mental state after they caught him, and they sent him to a facility to get looked at. While he was there, he kept asking the nurse to give him a gun. He called himself Zeus, and he was biting himself. Mental health professionals said that he was paranoid, he was delusional. So it was like it didn't matter what Joseph did. He just kept skating by without ever facing any consequences. Nobody cared about his background or the possibility that he might hurt somebody again. I mean, at least not until he started dating Tammy, and now her friends ended up digging into his past to see what his deal was. So we spent a ton of time talking
Oh, I forgot about Tammy for a second.
Back to 2014, the year that Tammy and Joseph met, fell for each other, and moved in together. Things in their relationship escalated pretty quickly. But now that Tammy's friends had learned some of the extremely unsettling information about Joseph, they told Tammy, and everybody was shocked by how she responded.
You bet they told
See,
Tammy.
Tammy didn't seem horrified or surprised. She also didn't try to deny any of it. Nope. She said she already knew about all of it. And even more, she was okay with it. In fact,
Tammy's crazy
was the one who
too.
paid that $500
No
bailout
way.
after the high-speed chase. It happened a few months into their relationship. And as for the fact that Joseph had killed his ex-girlfriend Sabrina and shot his mom, Tammy figured that he was really young and that he shouldn't be judged based on that one little fatal shooting. He just wasn't that kind of person. And it was basically the exact same argument that Joseph's mother, sister, and grandmother all made during this trial, that this horrible act of violence should be treated like a minor mistake. Tammy also said that Joseph was a totally different person now. She thought that the shooting only happened because he was breathing, he was on drugs. But in the years since then, Joseph had gotten clean. He worked hard at his job. He lived each day like he wanted to prove that he had turned everything around. And this might have been a little naive on Tammy's part, sure, but she thought that she was one of the reasons that Joseph had changed so much. I mentioned it before, but Tammy loved helping people, especially anyone who seemed like they were struggling with personal issues. One of the big reasons that she was attracted to Joseph was because he seemed like he needed her so badly. And I'm sure we all have that one friend who dates terrible guys because she wants to save them. I know I do. It's a terrible situation that usually does not have a happy ending, but you can't help them until they're ready to help themselves. And while Tammy had what sounded like good intentions, it also seemed like she was in this relationship for all the wrong reasons. In fact, she even admitted that she was upset when Joseph got arrested after the car chase. It felt like a big setback that they had after they'd made so much progress. Part of her still hoped that their relationship would work, but she did have some doubts now. And even though Tammy defended Joseph to her friends, behind the scenes, she really was starting to get pretty fed up. Joseph was insisting that he was this changed man, but Tammy was starting to notice that he still had some violent tendencies. He wanted total control over everything that Tammy did, what she wore, where she went, who she would talk to, and if she did something that he didn't approve of, he would throw an absolute tantrum. And all of this really scared Tammy, because his anger was so intense. While he wouldn't physically hurt her, she sensed that it would eventually get to that point. So now, Tammy was seriously thinking about leaving Joseph. But there was a
Little PSA for y'all. Don't be a Joseph. Just don't be a Joseph. Okay? It's super easy. Just don't do it.
On Monday, September 8th, 2014, Tammy came into work and she was visibly shaken. Her colleagues, who were some of her closest friends, came up to her. She pulled them aside and told them that she just survived something horrific. Joseph had tied her up and had spent the entire weekend sexually assaulting her.
Ooh.
Joseph to let her go because she knew that her coworkers would become suspicious.
What the heck?
So did he agreed. Now obviously her friends were upset and they were horrified, and they tried to convince her to call the police, but she refused. Even after all of the deplorable things that Joseph had done to her, she was still thinking in terms of how she could help him. She didn't want him to go back to prison. But at least Tammy recognized by this point that she couldn't stay with him any longer. She was ready to dump him, and all of her friends were completely supportive of that idea, but she didn't want him going back to prison. But at least, at the very least, she was getting herself out of this terrible situation. That's what her friends thought about it. Now, understandably, Tammy was way too scared to go home that night, so she stayed with a friend. That friend also helped Tammy write and send to Joseph a text, which read, "You can choose to be in denial about what happened Saturday into Sunday. I won't be in denial. No one gets to terrify me like you did on Sunday. I will never forget as long as I live." But Joseph did deny it. He wrote a reply that said, "We had a great dinner Saturday. Don't let the negative enter your mind. You are my soulmate. Come to me, please. Come home and talk to me, baby." Now let's just talk about the audacity of this reply. He sexually violated his girlfriend, arguably one of the most traumatizing things that you can do to a person. And then he acted like this great dinner on Saturday should make up for it. And then he tried to gaslight her by saying that she was just letting the negative thoughts take over, enter her head, take over everything. Now, I don't know if he actually thought that he could persuade Tammy to be okay with what he did, or maybe he was thinking in terms of not leaving any evidence for the police to find later. I don't know. But either way, this response from him was so creepy and so violating, just building on the terrible ways that he had hurt Tammy already. And then he escalated by showing up at Tammy's work the next day, which was September 9th. He was belligerent and he begged her to get back together with him, actually thinking that was going to work. Now, Tammy wasn't charmed. She wasn't forgiving. She was terrified, and so were all of her coworkers. They told her to go home, pack up all of his stuff, and just get him officially out of her house. And she did exactly that. It took a few days, but she got all of Joseph's stuff into trash bags and then had her dad change the locks so that Joseph couldn't get back in. From there, a few more days went by. Then, late in the evening on September 11th, Tammy called the police to report a domestic dispute at her house. Specifically, Joseph was trying to break in, and he would not leave. The police got there right away, and they found Joseph acting really agitated. He kept going on and on about how officers, according to him, always supported women, which, let's just say, that is a big red flag. Even though Joseph wasn't happy about it, he eventually agreed to leave. Now, just to be careful, the police decided to patrol the area for another hour, just to make sure that he didn't come back. Then, once they felt comfortable that Joseph was actually gone for good, they moved along with their night. But the next morning, Tammy did not show up for work. Now, she was never late, and on the rare occasion that she was
Something happened to
something,
Tammy.
always would text somebody to let them know. So, of course, it was concerning that she was now not at work. She also wasn't responding to anybody who was trying to text her. And then add in everything that had just gone down with Joseph, and everybody right away jumped to the worst possible conclusions. But before anybody could panic too much, one of her coworkers called Tammy's phone just to check in on her one more time. But a man answered. He said his name was John, but Tammy's coworkers were like, who the heck is John? None of them remembered her ever mentioning anybody with that name. Now by this point, the first coworker had hung up with John, so then somebody else tried calling her. Again, a man answered, but instead of saying his name was John, now the guy said he was Tammy's brother. Except that coworker had actually met Tammy's brother before, and he knew what his voice sounded like, so they knew that this guy on the phone was lying. So that was enough for them to call the police and ask for a welfare check on Tammy. It was still pretty early in the morning. This was right at the beginning of Tammy's shifts. But as far as the police were concerned, the night shift was over and the day shift was well underway. So the officers who had handled the domestic disturbance call the night before hadn't had a chance to talk to their replacements about what had happened yet. So these new officers who came over to Tammy's house had no idea that Joseph had tried to break in just a few hours before. They did see some signs of forced entry, but again, they didn't have any idea of who might have gone in. When they knocked, Joseph answered as well. But the cops didn't have any reason to be suspicious of him. Nobody had told them that he was Tammy's ex or that he was not supposed to be there. He said that Tammy wasn't home, and I don't know, maybe he expected the officers to believe him, and they might have, except for the fact that they saw cuts on his knuckles. He also seemed really nervous, and when the police asked if they could pat him down, he completely refused. So this was all suspicious enough for the officers to arrest him. So now he didn't get a say in whether or not they searched him, and sure enough, they found a bloody knife inside of his pocket. Then the police went inside, and inside,
I found
there
his
was
bloody
blood everywhere.
knife.
They called out for Tammy, but nobody replied, and the blood formed a trail which led right into the bathroom. There, they could see even more blood inside the tub. However, they couldn't get a good look because there was a tarp covering the entire bathtub. But when they lifted up the tarp, they found Tammy's body.
Oh,
She was
snap.
dead, and she had huge cuts on her face and on her abdomen. On top of that, part of her skull had been crushed, and pieces of her skull were missing.
Ooh.
Her killer had smashed it in such a way that they left little pieces of her brain scattered all around the bathroom. Now, I know that this is all really gruesome, but that's not even the end of it. In the kitchen, the police found a pan and a pair of tongs that were covered in blood and pieces of Tammy's hair, and part of her skull was sitting on a plate on the kitchen table, indicating that what? Joseph had tried to eat part of Tammy, consume her, cannibalism.
Oh my
Now,
God.
Tammy's autopsy showed that she had been
He
sexually
tried to eat her.
also stabbed about 25 times. Her official cause of death was sharp force trauma, meaning that she was stabbed to death. Besides her skull, some of her organs were also missing, including her lungs and her heart. Which, I just have to say, how beyond grotesque is that not only are you murdering somebody, but you are removing parts of their organs from their body. It just shows a whole different level of depravity and disgust and violation, in my opinion. Now, during his interrogation, Joseph confessed that he he did break into Tammy's home. When Tammy saw him, she ran to the bathroom. She locked herself inside, but Joseph smashed the door down and then stabbed Tammy over and over again. Once she was dead, he used his power tools to remove parts of her brain, her heart, and her lungs. And then he ate them all. Which I told you that this was going to get more gruesome. He started with the brain, which he ate raw. Then he decided to cook her heart and cook her lungs. Now, it doesn't sound like Joseph was thinking especially rationally during this process. Not that I think anybody rational would do this sort of thing to another person, but he said a lot of unhinged things. Like that he could hear Tammy's thoughts, or that the Greek god Zeus talked to him, that he had a third eye in his forehead, things like that. He said that he ate Tammy's brain so that he could have her third eye too. And apparently when he ate pieces of her heart and her lungs, demons.
Oh, I've got to go, but Sam drew him on our homework, so there's officially fan art. Wow!
However, at some point,
Well, good job, Sam.
ended up recanting his entire statement, and he told another
Sorry if this is a little too gruesome for your kids,
he saw multiple black
but I'm all about those murder podcasts.
attacking him. So he jumped in and tried to help her.
I can't help myself.
Convenient that he just happened to break in uninvited, just in time to play the hero. Right, nobody's buying it. Joseph then said that the men wanted to eat his brain so that they could have his third eye. He fought back apparently though, but then they knocked him out. When he woke up, Tammy was already dead according to him. And Joseph knew that the men were trying to frame him because they had put the bloody knife inside his pocket.
Blech.
Now, as crazy as this sounds, you're not alone. Because the police made inside his story.
I'm sorry, it's just too insane. It's insane.
We all understand it's absolutely absurd, but just to be extra thorough, they did check to see if there was any evidence of these other attackers, and big surprise, there wasn't. Now, Joseph never actually said why he decided to kill Tammy. However, it seems pretty clear that his mental state was pretty messed up. So he was charged with first-degree murder, sexual assault, and abuse of corpse. He was denied bail even while he kept claiming that he was innocent.
So we're gonna do things like that?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want to say?
I would like to say that all these charges against me, allegations are false. They refuse to give me any bail, any business, and charges and allegations against me are false. That's why they won't let me talk to people.
Ew, he's ugly.
That all my bail, I'm not bail.
Gross. He ain't even cute, guys. He looks like an idiot. What did Tammy even see in him?
Now, it was pretty clear that Joseph
She can't have been that
had some
desperate.
kind of severe mental issue,
Oops.
and it was bad enough that he was deemed unfit to stand trial multiple times. In 2017, a judge ordered him to go to a hospital for an evaluation. Multiple psychiatrists all said the same thing, that the course had been his entire time. Joseph was unfit to stand trial. He ended up having to stay there for a year in the hopes that after he had received some treatment, he could move forward and face a jury for his crimes. In the meantime, though, Joseph kept firing and then hiring new members of his defense team because he constantly had issues with everybody he was working with. Specifically, he said that they were putting thoughts inside his head. Now, the obvious move here would have been for Joseph to plead insanity, and that's what basically every single one of his lawyers told him to do, but Joseph refused. He said it would make him look weak, and it would prove that he had killed Tammy. But the alternative was for Joseph to face the death penalty, and nobody wanted him to be executed when he was clearly dealing with some pretty serious mental problems. Eventually, Joseph's team worked out a deal with the prosecutors. They said that they weren't going to plead insanity, and they would go through a typical trial. But in return, the state could not pursue the death penalty. They could only ask for life in prison. So those terms sounded good for everybody. Everybody agreed. And Joseph's trial began in 2019. Now, out of a desire not to bias the jury, nobody was allowed to talk about Joseph's prior arrests. So basically, nobody was allowed to know that Tammy was actually the second girlfriend that Joseph had killed, or anything about his past trouble with the law. But as we know, sometimes things like that don't work out, and that's not how things worked out here.
Day one of testimony in a high-profile murder case. Joseph Overhansley is charged with raping and killing his ex-girlfriend, Tammy Jo Blanton, and then consuming her organs. It happened in Jeffersonville in 2014. On Thursday, 2 women, friends, and co-workers of the victim told jurors the last 2 days of Blanton's life she lived in fear of her ex and had police on speed dial. But it's the testimony of a third friend that changed everything.
Anytime that word's said in a trial, you know things have just went bad.
That word, prison. Prior to trial, both sides agreed Overhansley's criminal record and drug use would not be mentioned. That witness did both, prompting the judge to declare a mistrial Thursday afternoon. Overhansley's attorney, Brent Westerfeld, called it the right move, but still disappointing.
You feel like you were ready to go, and then suddenly you can't go anymore. So it's kind of very much a letdown.
Clark County prosecutor Jeremy Moll told the judge in
All right.
the best move
What do we
because the
think?
higher courts could strike
How
down
does
the
it
next
look?
verdict and send the case back to square one.
Honestly, this all sounds like a good deal for Joseph. I'm sure he would have preferred a not guilty verdict to a mistrial, but basically, he got another shot at another hearing where the jury had no idea about his blood-soaked history. Except instead,
Awesome.
he
Thank
did
you.
start rambling
Thank
about
you
how
so
badly
much.
He thought that he was being treated the whole way back to his cell.
You held a meeting, all my family, friends all there. You know, I'm being held a meeting, all my rights are being violated. All over, with more of you speak, and you're not right on the table. I'm not having a person to hold,
Joseph went back to the mental facility, and his new trial began on September 11th, 2020. This time, everyone stuck to the facts as they pertained to Joseph and Tammy. And there were plenty of facts here, guys. I mean, texts that Tammy sent saying that she was scared, blood from the crime scene, which matched Joseph, and also Tammy's DNA, his confession. I mean, I could go on and on. Then, when Joseph took the stand, he came across as a very irrational and unwell.
I really like the pants, lol. Hi, Logo. How are you? How have you been, my friend?
And the jury found Joseph guilty of first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. They weirdly found him not guilty of the sexual
I
assault.
feel like I need to put a shadow at the bottom of the game console. I have this brush. I feel like it might be too chunky. I have this brush. That one might be good.
I mean, the whole reason that Joseph got out after Sabrina's murder was because everybody insisted that he had changed. He wasn't violent anymore. But clearly that was not true. If it was, Tammy would still be alive. And that's before I even get into those countless parole violations, which just fell through the cracks. Nobody ever followed up on them. And Joseph just got to keep living as a free man. And Tammy was the one who paid the price for all of his crimes. She also left behind all of those friends and her family.
Okay, here we go. Painting the shadow.
They didn't have to lose her at all. There were so many chances for people to intervene and save her. This murder was so preventable. So I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this case, guys. So please leave them in the comments below. And thank you again for being so understanding about my job. I'm hoping that it gets fully back to normal with my speech in the next few weeks, but I appreciate you bearing with me. I was going to take time off, but the more I thought about it and sat with it, I really feel like it is important what we do here. It's important that we share these victims' stories. It's important that their voice continues to be heard and that we continue to raise awareness. So, although it may not sound perfect to you, I do appreciate you sticking through and hearing their stories with me. Alright guys, thanks again. Don't forget to check out all of the new merch if you are interested.
I love the concept. You're doing amazing. Thank you, Chloe. Hey, Elmore, just stopping by to watch for a bit. Oh, it's so good to see you, Logo. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm actually almost done. Almost done. I'm just adding a shadow to this console here.
Hi, I'm Linda O'Keefe, or Linda Ann O'Keefe if I'm in trouble with my mom. 45 years ago today, I disappeared from Newport Beach. I
All right. Well, we're done, guys. We colored in the video game console. Whew. How long did that take? Like an hour and a half? This is what it's looking like. Okay, there you go. This is the piece. This is all the tweaking. Hold on, give me a second. Let me turn off the TV.
Called her mother from the office and asked her mother to come pick her up.
Oh.
My mom said, I'm really busy, you can just walk home.
Goodbye. Okay, so this is how it's looking so far. As I said, I tweaked up all this off camera, so I added that hot pink rim lighting. I changed the color of the controller. I fixed this so that it's lighter, but it still shimmers. It has that glitter in it. I added another layer of white to the pants, added another layer of purple, added another layer of orange. And then on this live stream, we did the game console, battery powered game console. And the next live stream we'll work on the plants, and then we'll do the contributor suggestions. So that's kind of what we're doing. So yeah, a lot shorter live stream today. Glad to have gotten that done because this one's just been racking my brain since I ended the last live stream. Just I couldn't believe that I had gotten myself tired and I didn't get to finish the game console. So now that it's done, I'm happy. Yeah, and now I can take a break. So next Monday, we're gonna live stream again. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to Cannibal Murder story from Annie Elise with me. Oh my gosh, what a trip, what a story. That Joseph guy was insane, all right? And Tammy's crazy for even dating him, and he was gross looking. Ugh. So yeah. There's my 2 cents. Anyway, y'all have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.